It was a rainy night in Santiago, Chile. Citizens hurried through dimly lit streets, eyes down, hearts heavy with fear. Among them walked Carlos, a slim man in his early 30s, dark hair plastered from the rain, a plain jacket clinging to his soaked body. He glanced over his shoulder again and again, feeling the weight of invisible eyes. He wasn't alone. He knew the government's secret forces were watching, waiting. Across the street, in the shadows, a military officer in his 40s, strict and cold-eyed, observed the crowd. Citizens passed by, ignoring him or trying to. Carlos's heart pounded. One wrong move, and everything could be lost. He knew friends had vanished without a trace. Names whispered in fear. Families destroyed overnight. Inside a dark government office, lights dimmed to a dull yellow glow. A group of officers leaned over a map of South America. They plotted and pointed at countries, marking the paths of dissenters. Carlos's name had already appeared on one of those lists. The room smelled of cigarette smoke and tension. Decisions made here were final, irreversible. The next evening, as Carlos hurried home, a car idled in a quiet alley. Two uniformed officers stepped out. Carlos froze. The officers moved fast, and before he could react, hands grabbed him, pulling him toward the car. The world spun as he struggled, his mind screaming for escape. Screams echoed faintly down the empty street. Citizens nearby turned, shocked, but no one intervened. Fear kept them frozen. The car sped off into the darkness, taking Carlos away from everything he loved, from the life he had known. No one would know where he was, or if he would return. Back at home, his mother, a woman in her late 40s with a worn face, clutched a faded photograph of Carlos. Tears fell silently as she replayed every moment of his childhood. She would never see him the same way again. Each day she waited, hoping for news that never came. Carlos sat on a cold bench in a dim cell, hand on his head, waiting. Days blurred into nights. The walls were silent except for the occasional guard passing. He wasn't alone. Other disappeared shared his fate, but there was no hope of justice. Only waiting, only fear, only uncertainty. Time passed. Carlos's mother aged, holding on to memories in the photograph that never left her hands. She walked through her empty home, a ghost of the past lingering in every corner. Her heart refused to give up, even as the world seemed to have forgotten him. Decades later, archives long hidden were uncovered. Files, photos, and documents revealed the horrifying truth of Operation Condor. Carlos's name appeared, alongside countless others who had vanished. Investigators and civilians pored over the papers, tracing the paths of lives stolen, families broken, and the dark machinery of secret governments. The story of Carlos and countless others reminds us, some heroes are those who try to survive, to resist in silence, and families who never give up hope. Even decades later, the shadows of history demand recognition. If this story touched you, remember the disappeared, and share, like, and subscribe, so that no story of courage and tragedy is ever forgotten.